Hi friends, this is the first part of a four-part series that I am making regarding Dravidian ideology, right from its inception during British India times to where it is today in 2024. Before we start, let me ask you a small question. Do you know which state in India is home to the highest number of temples? Yes, it's the southern state of Tamil Nadu that is home to 79,154 temples, many of which are more than 800 years old. But the irony is that this is also a state which has been ruled by Dravidian ideology driven rationalist parties since the late 1960s. The Dravidian nationalism was based on three ideologies: dismantling of Brahmin hegemony, revitalization of the Dravidian languages, which include Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, and Tamil, and social reform by abolition of existing caste systems, religious practices, and recasting women's equal position in society. In part 1 of this series on Dravidian ideology, we shall be seeing as to what were the events that led to the birth of the self-respect movement and also starting organizations like the Justice Party, Dravida Kazhagam, and the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. We shall also see how stalwarts such as E.V. Ramaswamy, popularly known as Periyar, and also Annadurai, popularly known as Periyar and Anna, shaped the Dravidian ideology and politics. The Dravidian movement in British India started off with the formation of the Justice Party on 20th November 1916 at the Victoria Memorial Hall in Madras by T. M. Nair and Tyagaraja Chetty as a result of a series of non-Brahmin conferences and meetings in the Madras Presidency. The communal divide between Brahmins and non-Brahmins began in the late 19th and early 20th century, mainly due to the caste prejudices and disproportionate Brahminical representation in government jobs. The Justice Party's foundation was a culmination of several efforts to establish an organization to represent the non-Brahmins of the Madras Presidency. The domination of Brahmins was also evident in the membership of the Madras Legislative Council. During the period 1910 to 1920, the 8 of the 9 official members who were appointed by the governor of Madras were Brahmins. Apart from the appointed members, most of the members who were elected into the council from the district boards and municipalities were also Brahmins. During this period, the Madras Province Congress Committee, which was the regional branch of the Indian National Congress, was also dominated by Brahmins. Of the 11 major newspapers and magazines in the presidency, 2, the Madras Mail and Madras Times, were run by Europeans sympathetic to the crown. 3 were evangelical, non-political periodicals. 4, the Hindu, Indian Review, Swadesh Mitran, and Andhra Patrika were published by Brahmins, while New India, run by Annie Besant, was sympathetic to the Brahmins. This dominance of the Brahmins was denounced by the non-Brahmin leaders in the form of pamphlets and open letters written to the Madras governor. One of the earliest examples of this was a letter written by a pseudonymous author calling himself Fair Play in 1895. By the second decade of the 20th century, the Brahmins themselves were divided into 3 factions. These were the Mylapore faction comprising Chetpet Ayers and Vembakam Iyengars, the Egmore faction led by the editor of the Hindu, Kasturi Ranga Iyengar, and the Salem nationalists led by C. Rajagopalachari. A fourth non-Brahmin faction rose to prominence to compete against them and came to be known as the Justice Party. Periyar was born in 17 September 1879 as Erode Venkatappa Ramaswamy to a Telugu Balija Naidu family in Erode. Ramaswamy had not always been against Hinduism. In fact, in 1904, he had made a pilgrimage to Kashi to visit the revered Shiva temple of Kashi Vishwanath. Although regarded as one of the holiest places of Hinduism, he witnessed immoral activities such as begging and floating dead bodies. He was both frustrated and miffed by experiences of Brahminical exploitation. However, one particular alleged incident had a profound impact on his ideology and his future work. While at Kashi, he found it very difficult to get free food, as the chowdhuries were particularly for Brahmins and forbidden other Hindu castes. Since he was starving for a few days, he found no other better way than to disguise himself as a Brahmin. Hence, he put on a thread on his bare chest and tried to enter the chowdhury. But his moustache gave him away. The gatekeeper not only stopped him but also threw him rashly onto the street. At that moment, the feast was over and leaves of food with leftover were thrown onto the street. Since he was starving and not able to control his hunger, Ramaswamy competed with street dogs to eat the food. At that moment, his eyes fell on the wall of the chowdhury and he noticed that the chowdhury was built with money donated by a wealthy merchant of Dravidian race from Tamil Nadu. This discriminatory attitude dealt a blow to Ramaswamy's regard for Hinduism, for the events he had witnessed at Kashi were completely different from the picture of Kashi he had in mind, as a holy place which welcomed all. Ramaswamy was a theist until his visit to Kashi, after which his views changed and he became an atheist. Ramaswamy joined the Indian National Congress in 1919 after quitting his business and resigned from public posts. He held the chairmanship of the Erode municipality and wholeheartedly undertook constructive programs such as spreading the use of khadi, picketing toddy shops, boycotting shops that sold foreign cloth, and eradicating untouchability. In 1925, he was elected as the president of the Madras Province Congress Committee at the Tirupur session. There, he advocated for the reservations in government jobs and education, but his attempts were defeated within the Congress party due to indifference and discrimination. This led to him resigning from Congress and leaving the party in 1925. Before we go ahead, a gentle reminder. If you're coming to my channel for the first time, or if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please press the subscribe button and also click on the bell icon to receive any notifications of videos that I would post in my channel. I have noticed that 99% of the viewers have not subscribed to the channel. I really hope that you would subscribe to the channel and support me. Thank you very much. He left the Brahminical Congress to organize self-respect movement for Dravidian people, which represented not only a radical phase of non-Brahmin movement, but also was a response to the politics of piety espoused by Gandhi. The Self-Respect League that he formed in 1926 bore a striking similarity in its objectives to that of Phule's Satyashodak Samaj, calling for the annihilation of caste, opposing Brahminical hegemony, and championing the liberation of subjugated classes and women. A trenchant critic of caste hierarchy, ritualism, and idolatry, Periyar, like Phule and Ambedkar, conflated Hinduism with casteism and Brahmanism and lambasted Hindu laws and institutions as inhuman instruments of Brahminic male and Aryan exploitation. The most crucial episode of his early public life was his clash with the Congress leadership over separate dining for Brahmin and non-Brahmin students at Congress-sponsored residential schools called Gurukulams near Madras. The basic thrust of the self-respect movement was to free non-Brahmins from Shudrahood and to also bring them together with the Ati Shudras and others to realize an ideal society in which caste had no place. While the Justice Party had been mainly concerned about ending the Brahmin Raj in public spheres through its politics of proportional representation, the self-respect movement aimed at bringing about a cultural revolution on the bedrock of casteist egalitarianism and rationalism, stressing egalitarian social relations across caste, community, and gender lines. Periyar advocated the overthrow of caste and instituted non-Brahminic forms of marriage, celebrating the equality of women and her right to choose life partner and other such practices designed to give a death blow to the Brahminical order. Kanjivaram Natarajan Annadurai, popularly known as Anna or Periyar Anna, which means Anna the scholar or elder brother. He was an Indian politician who was the fourth and last chief minister of the Madras state from 1967 to 1969 and also the first chief minister of the state of Tamil Nadu for 20 days until his death in 1969. Annadurai was born in a Tamil Sengundar family on 15 September 1909 in Kanjivaram, Madras Presidency, in a lower middle class family. Before indulging in politics, he worked as an English teacher. Later, he quit the teaching job and began involving himself in journalism, and he served as an editor in a few weekly magazines. Annadurai was an atheist in his personal life. He took oath as the chief minister in the name of his conscience rather than in the name of God. He proclaimed as only one race, only one God, that is Ondre Kulam, Oruvane Devan, from Tamil work Tirumantiram, penned by Tirumular, in order to unify the people of Tamil Nadu. Though secular to the core, he later described himself as Hindu sans the sacred ash, Christian minus the holy cross, and a Muslim without the prayer cap. Periyar regularly organized events where he and his followers used to break Hindu gods' idols. Annadurai stated he would attack superstitions and religious exploitation but would never fight against the spiritual values of society. He once explained his stance towards God and religion as, "I do not break coconuts for Pillayar, neither do I break his idols, that is, Nan Tengayam Oduppadillai, Pillayaram Odaippadillai." Annadurai's interest in politics made him join the Justice Party in 1935. At that time, Ramaswamy was the party president. He worked as the sub-editor of the Justice magazine. He later on worked as the editor for the Vidudalai and also as associated with the weekly magazine Kudi Arasu. He also wrote a journal called Dravida Nadu. In 1944, Periyar changed the name of the Justice Party to Dravida Kazhagam and also stated that his party would not contest in elections. The Indian National Congress, which was fighting for the independence of India from the colonial British rule, was dominated by Brahmins. Periyar felt that in an independent India, South Indians, especially Tamils, would come under the dominance of Brahmins and North Indians. Hence, when India gained independence on 15th August 1947, he called it as a day of mourning. But Annadurai had a different view on this, and hence the schism between both Annadurai's supporters and Periyar supporters grew. Anna felt that the overall independence of India belonged to everyone instead of only the Aryan North. Also, Periyar's decision of not contesting electoral politics also did not sit well with Annadurai, and he walked out of a party meeting in 1948. Periyar considered that candidates in elections must compromise their ideologies. Moreover, it was Periyar's idea that social reformation can be better achieved outside politics through education and canvassing the masses rather than governments. Eventually, when Periyar married Maniammal, who was 40 years younger than he, the personal differences between Annadurai and Periyar split their supporters. Annadurai launched his own party with his party fragment along with E.V.K. Sampath, who was Periyar's nephew and until then considered his political heir. The new party was named Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. The DMK's presence was initially limited only to the urban areas and its surroundings, but later on, by appealing to the urban lower, middle, and working classes, as well as students and Dalits, he was able to rapidly increase the footprint of the DMK. During his days in Dravida Kazhagam, Annadurai had supported Periyar's call for an independent Dravida Nadu. The claim for such an independent state stayed alive in the initial days of DMK. In 1962, Annadurai said in the Rajya Sabha that Dravidians want the right of self-determination. We want a separate country for southern India. However, the reorganization of states in India on linguistic basis removed Kannada, Telugu, and Malayalam-speaking regions from Madras Presidency, leaving behind a predominantly Tamil Madras state. Giving in to realities, Annadurai and his DMK changed the call of independent Dravida Nadu for Dravidians to independent Tamil Nadu for Tamils. Annadurai felt that remaining in the Indian Union meant accepting linguistic domination and economic backwardness. The Sino-India War in 1962 brought about changes in the Indian Constitution. The 16th Amendment, most popularly known as the Anti-Secessionist Amendment, banned any party with sectarian principles from participating in elections. When this amendment was presented at the Parliament of India, Annadurai was one of its members. He vehemently debated against the amendment, but was not able to stop it from being passed. With the new constitution changes being implemented, Annadurai and the DMK had no other choice but to put the call for a separate Tamil homeland in the back burner. Instead, Annadurai and the DMK decided to seek more cooperation among the southern states and also seek more autonomy for the Madras state. Another factor that played a key role in the rise of the DMK was its strong anti-Hindi stance. Hindi was first recommended to be an act language for official purposes in India by a committee headed by Pandit Motilal Nehru in 1928. This move was opposed by people and politicians of Tamil Nadu since they considered that it would make them second-class citizens when compared to that of native Hindi-speaking North Indians. The Justice Party and later the DMK continued to oppose the imposition of Hindi in both 1938 as well as in 1965. The 1965 agitation aided the DMK to win the 1967 elections and Annadurai became the Chief Minister of the Madras state. In 1967, DMK came to power in the Madras state 18 years after its formation and 10 years after it had first entered electoral politics. This began the Dravidian era in the Madras province, which later became Tamil Nadu. In 1967, the Congress lost 9 states to opposition parties, but it was only in Madras that a single non-Congress party, namely the DMK, won a majority. The electoral victory of 1967 is also reputed to be an electoral fusion among the non-Congress parties to avoid a split in the opposition votes. Rajagopalachari, a former senior leader of the Congress party, had by then left the Congress and launched the right-wing Swatantra Party. He played a vital role in bringing about the electoral fusion amongst the opposition parties to align against the Congress. It was the Annadurai government that renamed the Madras state to Tamil Nadu, its present-day name. Another major achievement of Annadurai's government was to introduce a two-language policy over the then popular three-language formula. The three-language formula, which was implemented in the neighboring states of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala, entitled students to study three languages, the regional language, English and Hindi. This is the end of part 1 of my 4-part series on Dravidian ideology. In part 2, we will be looking at the second generation leadership of Dravidian movement, that is Karunanidhi and MGR. If you like the video, please press on the like button, and also if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon to receive notifications of any videos that I post on my channel. Thank you very much, and until next time, take care.